Joining us now, it's an honor for me to do this, is my friend. What, is there a problem? All right. I'm going to do a long introduction because these gentlemen did not set his mic up. His name is Napoleon Da Legend. He's a rapper. He's an activist. He's a political analyst. Is his mic ready? All right. Thanks for being here, man.
What's up, Mike? Honored to be here, man.
Hey, man, it's great to have you.
Yep.
We've been talking for a little while. This has been in the works.
For real.
So we were just playing Afro Street.
Yep.
How did you get into music?
Man, just it was part of the household, man. You know what I mean? Like, I was born in Paris, France. Both of my parents are from the Comoros Islands. And we moved to Washington, D.C., Maryland area when I was around 4 years old. So I was always listening to music in the house, whether it was African music, reggae, and then I discovered hip hop when I was here. So once I seen my friends do it, it just was a natural thing for me to start doing it too.
How did you start thinking about politics in relation to your music, and how did that relate to where your family came from?
I think it was always in my consciousness, because coming from Comoros Islands, Comoros has been a country through a lot of turmoil. There's been like 20 coups d'etats through the history, which is probably one of the most in the world. So I was always getting news about what was going on over there, and then I was watching the TV and seeing what was going on here. Right. You know what I'm saying? With the Bushes, with everything that was going on, the Clintons. And it was it for me where I was like, when I used to go back to Comoros Island, I saw the difference of the lifestyle. It's like true third world. So, there's poverty and there's poverty.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you could be sitting in a house and...
There's a map got up here.
Yeah, right there. It's between Tanzania and Madagascar. It's 4 islands. And it's, they were colonized originally by the Arabs, and there was like slavery over there too. And then the French came and colonized there afterwards. Mm-hmm. And what happened was in 1975, the French were nice enough to give us our independence back.
That's nice of them.
Right. And but they played a little slick game with us, because they voted.
That wasn't slick, Bhaskar.
Right.
See, we're talking about slick games. Bhaskar's over here kicking beer. So in 1975, the French, quote unquote, give independence, but what actually happened?
Well, there was a vote, and overwhelmingly the Comorian people wanted to be sovereign over their own, have agency over their own lives and their country. And retroactively, through some weird games, they said that the island of Mayotte voted to stay to Comoros. So they arbitrarily said, we're going to separate them and we're going to keep that. So we're
going to keep Mayotte, the one island, we're going to keep as part of the Republic of France. Why do they want to keep that one island?
Well, the way that it's situated, it's in the Mozambique Channel, so there's a lot of commerce that goes up and down.
Right.
So it's strategic for France to have a presence there. So they wanted to keep their presence there. And Mayotte was something they didn't want to let go of. So basically, even though it's islands, people need to understand it's one people, it's same language, it's overwhelmingly Muslim because of the Arabs that came earlier. So it's not like each island is a little bit specific, but it's the same people. Or for me, my mother's from Mayotte, my father's from Anjouan, which are neighboring islands. So just so you see, there's some people in Mayotte that have family in Anjouan, vice versa. And they just separated it and they kept it. And it was a violation of international law and recognized by the UN. And still nothing is ever done because it's in a remote place where people don't really talk about it.
So it's literally still a colonial possession of France.
Well, now Mayotte is France.
Mayotte is France.
It's an official department of France.
Right. So that's the other part I wanted to ask you about, because you talked about the incredible poverty there.
Right.
What about Mayotte?
Well, Mayotte is doing better than them.
Right.
Like there is still poverty in Mayotte. Right. Don't get me wrong. And overwhelmingly, the old colonial, Like there's a few families that have a lot of money there, and the white people in Swahili we call them the Mzungu. They own most of the stuff over there.
What's the Swahili word for white people?
Mzungu.
Oh, you're gonna have to. I'm gonna try to memorize that. I feel like that word could come in a lot of use.
You'll hear it. You go to Kenya or something like that. They're gonna say Mzungu. That's what it is.
The other ones, they'll pull me aside.
Right, but they're gonna
they'll be like, hey, look at that.
So basically, there's a lot going on, and what happened was also France, even though they gave independence, they didn't really let go.
Right.
It was like the post-colonial, was just like neo-colonial times in Comoros, which caused all these coups d'etats, because there was this mercenary called Bob Denard, French guy, right-wing type guy, very close with the South Africa, apartheid South Africa, and he came in. He took one of the presidents out, put in another one.
What year is this?
That was right after the independence. Don't quote me on the actual years. Yeah, it was in the 70s. And so this president Ali Souali came in, and they deposed Ahmed Abdallah from Anjouan. And he was actually an interesting character. He was actually like a socialist. I wouldn't even say communist. He wanted to bring communism to Comoros. So he had a lot of good ideas, but it was very poorly executed. And he made it. I feel like he made, from what I've heard, he made a few mistakes. Like he brought down the voting age to 14 years old. Like the head of the army was 15.
So the head of the army was 15. I was about to say, you could actually persuade me on the voting age, but I think head of the army, that's a lot. That's a lot, yeah.
He did a few things that probably were ill-advised, and so there was a lot of violence that was happening and stuff like that. So Ahmed Abdallah, who already was deposed by this guy, Bob Denard, who's a mercenary from France. He called him, and so he helped him get back into power. And he killed the president. They shot him.
Right.
So he got back into power. But as you can see, that mercenary Bob Denard wanted to be kind of like the king of the island. That was like his little fetish, his fantasy.
Right.
He loved the island. It's a tropical island. It's beautiful. It's like going to like the Cayman Islands, or when I go to Jamaica, it's like the same thing. Palm trees, beaches, stuff like that. Beautiful people, nice people, nice weather. So he wanted to be the king of the island, so to speak. And even though officially France wasn't backing that, he would have to work with some of the secret services in France to know what was going on.
And that's how it always works.
Right.
You always, with these paramilitary groups and private contractors, I mean, that's how so many things are done. What's the situation today? Well, the situation today,
before I get back to that, what was funny is that he helped the guy. He also ended up killing the guy he helped put back in power. So he killed two presidents. Like he was in a room and somebody got shot, and it ended up being the president and the bodyguard of the president. He says he didn't do it, but who knows? What's going on now? So it was an interesting story. The current president also did a coup d'etat in 1999. His name is Azali Assoumani, and took power. And he did something kind of like different from the rest of a lot of these African leaders that go into power that they never want to leave. He took the power. Then a few years later, he left. He wasn't elected, so he let somebody become president. He got elected again, and he got elected again recently. But what's been happening lately is that when he made a referendum on his constitution, so he changed the term limits so he could present himself again, and he could technically stay president until 2029, which is
that's not a bad term.
Some dictator type tendencies right there.
That's a little tendency.
And
2029.
Right. That's some Trump. That's what I'm saying. Trump would get along with a lot of these African dictator types. You know what I mean?
If he wasn't a total racist, but definitely there's some kinship. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.